Welcome to Men's Conference, Monday night. This is the place to be where men gather around to heal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Moya, right? Moya, bright. And we're here today, like we do every other Monday. Please do forgive us for not being around. We always take the time out to refresh, so we give you the best. Moya, right? Monday, September. In our African space, we're in a new space. We're in a new season. We're in the new year. And here we are bringing new stuff to you guys. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Do let us know where you're watching from so we're able to give your town, your city, Kaslako, wherever you are, a shout out. Even if you're watching us from abroad, let us know so we know where to send the love to. Before we start, like norm, like usual, as we start, we center and we bring ourselves back to ourselves and we bring ourselves back in alignment with our guides. As you guys saw yesterday, that moon did some stuff. We heard over the weekend people were constantly tired. I heard people today saying they were tired, they were worn out, but it's not just a normal tired. It's not a fatigue from the gym. It's not year-end fatigue, but like this is something else. It's beautiful. We're in a beautiful space and time. When you're ready, like we do here, if you're new here, please do join us just by closing your eyes and gently sitting there and allowing me to take you on a short journey. And when it feels safe, please join me in closing your eyes. I'd like you to take a deep breath in and out. And breathe again and take another deep breath in and breathe out. And take a deep breath in and breathe out. And keep breathing in this rhythm. Keep going. And I'd like you to let go of the year, the first portion of the year that we've passed. I'd like you to quickly run your mind through it. The ups, the downs, the celebrations, the cries, the great things that you achieved and the things you missed. Think about it all. The things you got and the things you lost. The people you gained and the people you lost. And in that one thought, I want you to package it as if you were putting it into a bag and put it over your shoulder. Walk with these memories. And get to the edge of a river, and I want you to tie this bag. And I want you to tie a tight knot on it so it wouldn't be able to open. And I want you to see yourself in your mind's eye putting this on top of the water and watching it float. But before you let it go, I want you to hold on to it and feel the stream pulling it. And keep holding on to it. And when you're ready to recite the words, I let you go with love. Once you are ready to let it go with love, say these words with me. I let you go with love. And when you're ready to, I want you to release your hand and feel everything go. Let it go. And release it. And as you stand there and you watch it float away, acknowledge it. The good, the bad, the smiles and the frowns, the wins and the losses. And as you stand there at your feet, you find another bag, an empty bag. And you pick it up. And when you are ready to, you start to walk back. And as you walk back, you find the things you've been asking for, you've been longing for, you've been crying for, you've been praying for, you've been meditating on, you've been manifesting, you've been putting on a dream board, you've set your goals on. And one by one, you start to pick these up. And when you are ready, you say to yourself, I welcome you. And as you pick the next one, I welcome you. And I'd like you to see yourself picking these things up. As you go along, keep finding them and picking them up. And I welcome you. I welcome you. I welcome you. I welcome you. Start finding these things. Start seeing them. Start feeling them. And when you are ready, in that heightened moment of finding and welcoming, please do join me again when you are ready. Blessings upon blessings. Thank you so much. As we kick off tonight, we've got a very, very sensitive topic, but we do not want to make it sensitive. We want to make it educational and something that we speak about. We want to break down the myths. We want to break down the psychology. We want to break down experience. And sometimes we don't need the experience to have it. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for watching. Please do let us know where you're watching us from, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that tonight is educational. I'm not alone tonight. Yes, it is men's conference. But what is a man without a queen? And I've got two beautiful queens that are with me tonight who will share their experiences and share their knowledge, and they will poke the bear until we get to the bare truth and the bare emotions. So tonight, I'm not by myself. I'm with Karusha. She's not a new face. We know her. We love her. And she's a friend of the channel. She's a friend of this home. And we got a new face. A woman that has said since 2011 she's been wanting to be able to do this, to share her story, to educate and liberate women, to be able to take men and women and put them on the same platform and educate them and allow them to be able to heal together and to be able to take her experiences to the next level. None other than Sheila, the man who drives a van mail. Welcome to the channel. Please unmute yourselves and welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Wandile.
Good evening, Sheila. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Nah, I'm excellent, thank you. For those that have never seen or heard of you, who are you? Who's Sheila? Where's she from? What does she do? And we'll take it from there.
So, Sheila is originally from Belgravia, Jewel Street, born and brought up, but then also moved around to lived in Durban as well as now back in Joburg. And I'm a transformational life coach. I'm a teacher as well. Helio Life teacher. So yeah, that's my transformation that took place many years ago in 2011. But I only managed to do what I had to do from after I left work. So I went on disability in 2021. And ever since then, I've been doing courses to learn and grow and help as many people I can.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your expertise as well. We have a very sensitive topic, and I think a lot of couples do not discuss this. What should ever happen, in a space where a couple finds themselves going through physical pain, where people are putting each other through physical pain? And by physical pain, I mean there's the hitting, there's the physical abuse where I, as a husband or I, as a partner, feel that I'm entitled to put my hands on you because we have issues in the relationship that we cannot resolve. For a woman, I'm taking you to the end to get to the beginning. For a woman, Sheila, what does having a man put his hands on you do to you psychologically?
So, Wandila, I've been through this in my time of when I was married, um, mentally, physically, emotionally. What it does to a person is it breaks the person. It breaks the self-esteem, the self-worth, the confidence. You lose everything that you have had, and you become a broken person. You do not know how to fend for yourself. You don't know how to go and ask someone for help because you're so embarrassed, feeling that it is your fault of whatever happens to you. Um, So in
Okay.
my
Thank you.
my I can give you a little bit of my story. I was married for 12 years, and in that 12 years, I went through a lot of pain, a lot of beating, a lot of vulgar words, a lot of blame, name, shame. In that time, when I was going through all that, um, are you guys there? Oh, in
We're
that
here. We
time,
hear you. We hear you. We're just giving you
in
the
that time.
platform.
In that time when I was in that situation, I also my health went very bad. I had to be in hospital all the time for cyst growth operations, and it was a very bad journey. Also, the thing is, when you don't have a support of family at that time, because the person I married, I ran away with because my parents didn't agree with me to be with that person, but that was my choice. And because I made that choice, it was hard to go back and tell your parents that this is what you're going through. So for 2 years in my marriage, my parents didn't speak to me or didn't support me in any way. They didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell anybody. And when I moved to Durban, it even got worse, where there was nobody that I could run to or go to because there was no family member, there were no friends, because it was a new place for me altogether. So I was all by myself. But it broke me in such a way that I lost my myself completely. I didn't know who I am. I felt that I was to be blamed for all that was happening and all the choices I made. But as time went by, it I had the courage to get out of the marriage. That was because it was life and death situation, and I think at the time I had to come back home to my hometown, which was Joburg. And when I got back, um, I went through some health issues, and my one of my daughters found Ashika Singh, the Helio Life, you know, teacher, and she was the one who took me through this journey in 2011. And I'm so grateful to her, because if I did not find her, I would not be able to get out of the situation that I was feeling. And then I started learning how to accept things that, the way things were, to forgive. One of the biggest thing was to forgive. And for me, it took me 5 years to forgive my ex-husband for what he had done to me. But I think with the forgiveness came also with humbleness, humanity, trying to help people, trying to see the other side of it. So we don't learn these things because a lot of things happen when the children go, when we are adults, and we don't know what happened when we were children. A lot of people go through, men and women, men go through some traumas when they were in their mother's womb, with what the mother or father went through, maybe fighting, arguing, and that. And the children, when the child comes out of the womb, that child picks up all these emotions and feelings, and that's how everybody, has their own journey. And it took me a long time to understand that, because I hated men. I felt that men were people who don't respect women, and how could they do what they do. But when I met Ashika and I went through the workshops and the facilitating and all that, I learned that it was not only women that go through it, even men goes through it. And it took me a long time to understand that even men go through that. I then started researching and started finding, different venues or ways of finding out that what happens to men. And that's when I changed my whole. Delightful Living is my name on my website. And I only used to teach women, but now I have opened my platform for men as well, because I feel that men do not have that, they don't know how to come out and say that they are getting hurt, or they do know, but it's just that people won't believe it. I mean, if you go to a police station and a man says, I've been abused, what do you get from there? people don't believe you and they start laughing, or they'll start mocking you. And because our country and our world has become so much of just women, that men doesn't
Hold on.
get that platform. So yeah, I've come to this point where now I'm in the situation where I'm willing to tell people that, you
Sheila,
know what, you're not alone. There are people out there. Yeah, so this is my story, and I'm so proud that I could actually come out and say what I've been through. I've also been through in 2013. I went through rape, and I went through it for 3 months, and it was so difficult to come out of it. And in that 3 months, even though um, I went to the police station and laid the charge and everything, nothing came out of it. I went through it for the whole year, where we were going to and fro from the police station to find out what's happening, and the court date just went on and on and on, and it just we I couldn't get anything out of it. So when it did happen, I was very angry, where I couldn't voice myself. The guy couldn't get punished for what he did. But at the end of the day, I looked at it in such a way, my mind, the way I looked at it is that if I did go to the court and if I did sit there, I would have been pushed to a point where I would have had to say all these, all the things that happened to me in front of my children, and what would have that happened to my children? What would it have done to my kids? So maybe it's God's blessing that it didn't happen, and I had to let go and forgive. Once again, Heal Your Life also was part of it, where I could actually go for therapy and I could actually speak about what happened to me. So,
my deepest apologies. Deepest apologies. Can you guys hear me? Percent. Sheila, as you were going, I wanted to bring Karusha in. Karusha, I wanted to ask you a question. Have you in any relationship ever felt the fear that you could land up in a GBV, in a space, in a spat of GBV?
That's an interesting question. Just, I think just once. And I tried to, be in a situation where I tried to act in a way that I was not going to be putting myself in a situation some more. So I just fed into it a little bit more. And when the person wanted to do this, I made sure I did it, because I knew that it was quite a volatile situation. But it was quick and it was over fast. So I was very grateful for that. But I don't know how I would handle being in a situation like that. And I'm grateful that I was never in a situation like that. And I honestly, we have so much information. But what I did want to ask Sheila is, you have children, yes. So people generally say, okay, let's stay together for the sake of the children. And the children, for me personally, will suffer the most. But also, how did you get to that point where you knew that this is it? Because you said it was going on for a long period of time. And I think it speaks to people, once they're out of the situation, can talk about it interestingly and become mentors and things like that. But while you're in it, you don't feel brave, you don't feel confident enough, you don't know what to do. And obviously people know and people see, but people also don't want to get involved in these situations. And this speaks to men and women. So quickly tell us how you did that and what was your thoughts.
so it wasn't as easy as it was very difficult. I had a neighbor that was also, when I lived in Durban, my neighbor actually used to hear the screaming and shouting and running out of the house and hiding. I used to hide because I was so afraid. I tried to commit suicide twice, tried to jump out of the window, because I was locked up in a room getting beaten up. I had two miscarriages. it's so much that took place, being in hospital, in and out, and not getting support. My two children, seeing to my two children, was the only thing that kept me going. There was, also in the marriage was also where um, having affairs, but I got blamed like I was having an affair, and then I got beaten up for that, even though I didn't have that affair. And my neighbor used to know all this. And I think one day, I think she just somehow, I don't know how, but she managed to get a number for my mom to tell my and call my mom and said, if you don't call your daughter back, she's going to be in a coffin, or, get her back. And then my mom actually sent two of my family, because we don't have brothers. I don't have brothers, so we were only girls. So my mother got someone from the community who were family, like a family member type of friends, and two of the guys came to fetch me in Durban. When they came, it was a hush hush. So my husband had to go to work, and then only they came, and then we put everything in bun packets and everything. My kids were at the school. I had to go to the school and get a transfer card, and it was very easy for me to get a transfer card because I used to always go to the school for their school meetings and things. So they didn't need to ask me anything besides I just said I need a transfer because we're moving to Joburg. And that's how I got the transfer card. And immediately from there, I left. I was afraid. There was a lot of fear. What's going to happen next? I didn't know what was going to happen next. But when we drove back, yes, I went through lots of trauma in not knowing what's my next step. What am I going to do? I never worked for 6 years. So what is my next step? How am I going to deal with situations with no finance, background of having anything to support my children or myself? But when I got back, my mom and my sisters, they were there to support me and help me. And then my sister helped me to find a job, which was a very low paid job, but it was something for me to start somewhere. And that's how I got into work and tried to start doing what I needed to do. I didn't ask for maintenance because every time we went to court, in court, when you go, have lawyers, you're not rich enough, you don't have the money, so you just have to keep postponing. So I said, you know what? You can have your money, you can take it and do what you want. I will bring up the kids myself. And I did. I had to. There was lots of difficulties and challenges, but I had to overcome those difficulties and challenges because as a mother, my responsibility was towards my children. That is what was more important. I think what kept me going was my two children, my two girls, because I also had girls. So that kept me going.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And I mean, and by amazing, I mean, how you were resilient through that. You fought through, and you were determined, and you knew what you wanted, and you stuck it out. But and I speak to a lot of men, and the question they keep asking is, how did this man get to that point? How does it start? It obviously doesn't start with a beat down. How did it start? I want to go to how it started. I want the telltale signs of how it started. Was there a slap on one day? Was there a push where the push got regular and, it became familiar and you became comfortable with the push? Or was there a, cussing here and cussing there and eventually got used to the fact that you take the cussing? Or how did it start? What are the telltale signs? How do I know that it started?
So what happened was I was in love, right? So you don't see anything else besides love. Now, remember, I come from a family that was very orthodox and only wanted you to get married to the culture that you belong to, not out of the culture. I studied in India from the age of 9. I was sent to the boarding school in India with my sister. We were two sisters that were sent. And what we learned there is what I had to go through was to support my younger sister who was with me, who was bullied all the time. So I became like matured very quickly. I didn't know what was being a child. So I matured very quickly, and I had to take care of my sister because she used to get bullied and stuff like that. So when I got back from India to South Africa, I got a job. But then also in the time of the job, my father and my mother didn't want me to obviously get married to an outer caste type of person. I needed to get married in the religion that I was in. And when they heard that I was seeing a Christian boy, they weren't very happy. At one point, I even had to leave job and stay at home because they had a shop and we had to run the shop. So I used to help in the shop. And quietly, my younger sister, the third sister, used to go um, when I had to see my children's father. He was literally sitting. He used to be on the top of the where the shop was, and he used to flick his lights, and then obviously my sister used to get the letter for me and things. But it was so strict that we couldn't even go out. And I think with that, I felt abandoned. I felt not wanted because my parents, I never knew what my mother's love was because I was never with her. So the only thing that got me was the man that showed some love and some attention, and then I actually started falling in love with him. So I loved him, and we started seeing each other because I used to work for Coca-Cola at that time, night shift. So it was easy to see him when I was having working night shift. But then eventually, at the age of 21, when I turned 21, my parents didn't want me to have my 21st birthday with my friends, and that it was just family members. And he wasn't invited, and he was very angry. And that's when I saw his anger. And he drove from there, all the way from Joburg, all the way to Secunda by his cousin's house because he was angry that he couldn't come for the 21st. But in that time, when I turned 21, in that week, I planned to run away with him because that was the only way I could think that I could see him or do. And we decided, okay, let's do that. And I met him in Commissioner, and then from there we left for Durban. And in that time when I left him, which was in December time, we had to go to a party. And when we were going to the party, he was driving and his brother was sitting in the back seat. And the cassettes, at that time we had cassettes, right, for the car, and the cassettes rolled down by the seat and he lost it. And the way he got so angry with his brother to a point where he was driving on the wrong side of the road. That's how bad it was with oncoming cars. And then that time Mshlanga wasn't yet built the way it is now. It had sugarcane, farm and things, and you had to go through that. And the car somersaulted. That was my first ever accident I had. And I came out without any scratches. And even all two of them didn't come out with any scratches. But that's when I realized that he had that anger. But I thought it was just nothing. At that time, I didn't think about it. I was so naive. I really didn't think that it will continue. That anger is there and it will continue. I didn't know where the anger came from, why it was there. And then from there onwards, it started. I started seeing differences, but there was nothing I could do. I had no way to reach out to anyone and say, you know what, I need to come back home, because I was so embarrassed. I took that leap without my parents, and we couldn't come back. I couldn't come back. So yeah, that was the first time I saw.
What a story! And I think for a lot of guys, thank you so much for sharing that. I think for a lot of men, we are not physically scared of you guys as women. We're emotionally scared of you. And I think for a lot of men, the emotional fear that we've got of you supersedes the physical fear. And for a lot of guys, that fear has turned out into hitting, because women are able to reason with their emotions. Women are able to verbalize their emotions, and women are able to share their emotions. And society has said to men, keep it quiet. Hush up, man up. And I think for a lot of guys, and what you're saying is, in the organization I belong to, I've heard a lot of men saying that the most strained body part that they have is the throat, because they don't use it often enough. And this here, you know, the failure to use this then runs to the heart, and that's why men are leaving women widowed. And thank you so much for sharing that element of what you went through. My next question is going to, if it shakes the bear, if it pokes the bear, please do not respond. You need not respond if it becomes too uncomfortable. But I want to take you to that first time, and I want to take you many years back when the very first time that he ever laid hands on you. What was going through your mind
Sure.
as he was throwing those jabs, as he was punching, as he was slapping you, kicking you? What was going through your mind?
So, when I was going through that, I at that point of couldn't understand why. Because I was this type of person where I would do everything for you. I didn't, there was no reason for you up till today. I will be honest with you. Up till today, I still don't have answers of why I had to go through that. Because I did everything as a woman should do for her partner. I didn't go clubbing, I didn't drink, I didn't go meeting boys or men, or I didn't do any of those things. I was a humble and a faithful wife. So I don't know why it happened and what reason I had to go through all that. So up till today, I still don't have those answers. But I do know that with with him was because I think because he was having so many affairs all the time. There was always an affair. There was always something happening with another woman, or he had to come late at night because he had to go for a meeting, but it was always a woman involved, different woman. So I don't know if it was because of that, where he came home and thought he had, because he needed to get rid of me or something. But it was how it was. I mean, we never used to go to the beach together. I used to go to with his family members. He never really participate with us or my kids going to the beach or anything. It was always the auntie-in-law taking us out. So up till today, Wandile, I don't know what caused that, why he did what he did. Um, so, but to be honest with you, after coming back and going through Heal Your Life, going through therapy, going through all that, I learned to understand why he did what he did. Maybe because he also came from a very broken home, and what he probably saw, or whatever he went through with his parents, could have affected him, because he had to grow up also very quickly and start doing what he had to do out of matric, start working, supporting, all these things. And maybe those were the reasons, I'm not sure. But from what I learned is that there is always a root cause to what happens to everybody. There's a root cause of people that get angry, and there's a root cause of it. It always comes back to your family, where you were born and in what environment you were born. So that's how I look at it now, and take it as he did what he did. I forgave him, and today I can still speak to him without any fear. At some point when I got divorced, I used to be in fear. Whenever I used to talk to him, my hands used to shake. I used to, like, couldn't even speak. But as time went by, I started understanding, learning, and once I forgave, it just opened another door where now I can speak to him. He's now changed. He's married. He's good to my children. I can stand in the same room with him, with my partner, and we can have a conversation. So a lot of things changed after that. It is not easy. I'm not saying the road was easy, but with knowing that there was people that could support me and help me through the journey afterwards, that's got me where I am today. And in 2011, when I did the Heal Your Life, And when I was in a meditation, my late dad came to me and said, you need to write a book called The Glorious Woman That You Are. And that's where I am now. The glorious woman that I am, the victorious
Wow.
woman that I am.
I
And I
just want to
hope
say
that
something,
we,
Wandi.
we will get special copies of that. We'll be the first to buy your book.
Yeah.
I,
Karusha?
Please
I
go ahead,
wanted to
Kurusha. Please
say,
say.
I wanted to say is it's so lovely to witness a positive story like this, because for me, I think that you don't see yourself as a victim anymore, and that's why navigating this new world now where you realize that you can help, and especially men, because you're right, root causes are something we don't look at, and it's very important because, and then one day also what you touched on, why do men do this, or why do people do this, women do this, why do men do this? For me, the world's changed so much. We women are equal. We can do exactly what we want to do, and just as well as you. However, we still made differently, and I think that's the only way some relationships can keep you down, is physically holding you down. And maybe it's that frustration that both women and men share. It's because you can't communicate. You're not talking the same language, and you only get to this point when you're in it. And again, it's having conversations that could maybe avoid some of these things, reaching out to friends. You don't necessarily have to go to therapy, but if I have a sounding board, my friends, for example, if I call Sheila and say I'm having a relationship issue, can you give me advice, calm me down? Reaching out, it we don't need to get to the point where somebody's physically hurt, and it can be that simple if we allow ourselves to open up in a different way. This whole new phase that we're in, you were talking about lunar eclipse and all of that, it sounds strange to some people, but the world is changing. We need to move with it. And mental health is becoming a big thing now. But it shouldn't be a buzzword. It should be something that we're living, because if we're not mentally unstable, we're just figuring things out. People are shifting and moving. Can we all just move with it? And men and women alike. We've got aggression, let's talk about it. We're feeling angry, let's talk about it. But we don't have to resort to hands and weapons and whatever people use. It cannot be the way forward anymore. Something's got to give. And people, this is how we start. We talk. We have honest, open conversations about it, like Sheila sharing. It's obviously very triggering and very hard. And obviously, Sheila, being a person of color, is something, I mean, part of the Indian community, you don't ever hear this, because you get stigmatized, it's embarrassing. And this is the same for every culture along the way. We don't talk about this often enough. Tell me what you went through, tell me what you felt. Why? Because you might have somebody here to say that, you might be in it right now, but there is a way. You can reach out to any one of us here. Any one of us here would be able to help you, even by just talking to you. So, this forum is amazing. Thank you for this. And thank you, Sheila.
I just wanted to say something, Wandile. You mentioned about where men actually
Thank you so
don't come
much.
out,
Yeah.
where men don't come out and talk about it, is also because they don't have that capacity of the
Yeah.
emotional side as the woman has, the feelings of expressing themselves. I think because from the time they were born and they were brought up, they were born to and brought up as they are men and they need to be one up. They need to be tough. They need to be toughened up. They can't cry, you know. Um, and maybe in that way, a lot of men then maybe go through that and don't know how to deal with then into a relationship because of that. So when they go into relationships and something triggers in what they went through in maybe when they were younger, and triggers in their relationship, we don't know what to what extent it triggers that they do what they do, you know. So I don't say that you condemn what it is okay for them to do what they do, but when we learn about what happens from the childhood time, and you learn the root cause of what is happening, you learn and you grow. Every day is a learning. I'm not saying that because I've been through it and now I'm okay. No, I still go through my triggers at some point. Somebody just says something and triggers and it comes back. So you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always asking for support, you're always asking to help, for someone to help you as well. And go through the sessions again, if need be. And the children also go through it. And that is why I always say that my responsibility at that point was looking at how am I going to bring my children up? What am I going to do? And whatever way or whichever way I had to bring them up, I did it. I did it to my best ability. What I could give them and teach them, I did that. I'm happy and I'm proud that they are independent. They've got their jobs, they've got their lives, and they live in it. Communication, I always say, a communication is also the key to a relationship. If you don't communicate, then you won't know what's happening, and then you're going to be wanting to argue with each other and things like that. So there's a lot of things that happens, and I'm not saying that it's going to get over, people are going to get over it, but this all I'm saying is, men and women, there are people out here that can assist and guide you. You don't need to be in that situation. If you feel that it's happened now earlier, you can say, I need to get out before it's too late. Because some people they die in that situation. They are killed in that situation. They commit suicide, and then what? I was one of them who tried to commit suicide twice. It was just my luck. Maybe God didn't want me. He wanted me to be here on this platform. I'm blessed. I'm grateful to the people that has brought me till this far. I'm very grateful. And today's, being on this platform, I feel so happy that I could actually tell my story, so that I can, maybe there's someone out there who might get touched and might say, you know what, I might need that assistance and help, and I shouldn't be feeling ashamed. I shouldn't feel that it's my fault. And just come out and reach out to us. We are here. Thank you, Wandile.
100%. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, definitely Ramana has said that this topic is for her. She needed this exactly today. So definitely, your story was just not another fluke, another story. But I want to push your buttons a bit, and I want to take you. As much healing as you've done over the years and over time, do you, when in hindsight, when you look back, see where you triggered him?
No, not really. I don't see where I triggered him. Yes, I maybe could have argued with him at some point when they blamed me for having an affair when I didn't have an affair with my neighbor. Let's put it that way. Let's say he comes home and he says, "Oh, what were you doing? You had an affair with a neighbor, or what are you talking or looking at men?" Something like that. Yes, it will trigger you because you never do that. So you're gonna obviously say, "But I haven't done anything." Some point you don't even have a chance to talk. You just get one hit and you see stars. That's what I've been through. I've seen stars. um that's why I say to you, because of all this what I've been through, I had health issues to a point where I had to, at my early 30s, let's say late 20s, early 30s, had to do a hysterectomy and remove my ovaries, because of the fact that I didn't want to fall pregnant again. I didn't want to have children because I had two miscarriages. And the two miscarriages I had was not because of my choice. I had to do the one because he didn't want that. And the second one I had to do because I was in a lot of pain, and I had a lot of, I had 50 chance of having um, a disabled child, and I didn't want that, because how am I going to manage with that if I can't manage myself, look after myself? And I still had 2 children to look after. So maybe those triggers were, blaming me for things that I've never done could have caused it. But I still don't have I still up till today don't understand why it happened. And when he did meet me and said he wants to get back with me, I did tell him, I forgive you face to face. I said to him, I forgive you for what you've done, even though I don't know why, but I forgive you so that I can move forward. Because then you're stuck if you don't forgive and you don't let go of whatever has happened. It's not easy, but you have to come to some choices you have to make in order to move forward. And I could only move forward after I do that. It took me 5 years after my divorce to forgive.
I just want to say, you asked a very interesting question. What did she do? What does anybody do? Sometimes you don't need triggers. People are just people, and you
Thank you
don't
for
need
sharing that with
something
us. Thank
to.
you so much.
You don't need to light anybody's fuse. If I'm having a bad day and you just say hello to me the wrong way, you might just get it. So I don't think it's about anybody triggering. Sometimes your presence is enough, and you the cause of everybody's agony. And I see, Daphne's saying here that we're talking to her. So Daphne, we are all here for you. We're all here to talk to you offline if you need to. So again, there's no such a thing as triggers. It's you don't ever need to get there. You don't ever need to get there. You walk away, but that's easier said than done. And obviously, was not in it, so I can't speak. But also, I also like to believe that there's a little bit of humanity left in us that we can avoid it. But it's not about what you did, because that's the first question people ask is, what did you do? And I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. It's what's happening to you is rather what's happening, pointed that way.
There's something else, Wandile, I will tell you something about what
Yeah.
I've explained. Um, it's not an easy thing to
Yeah.
talk about, but I will say it because there is people out there who probably go through that as well. So when I left in 2012 or 2013 to go and do OPE because I didn't have a job, I went to Polokwane to do OPE, to look after two children, which is 4 and 8 years old. And it was an Indian couple that I went to go and work for. And I stayed there. Now, like you said, triggers. What I would like to know is that how is it that we would know that what will trigger a man to do what he does? Because when I was there, I did what I needed to do as an OPE. I was told there were cameras in the house, there's security, and that I was not allowed to pick up the phone and phone my parents or my sisters or my family members, communicate with them. I was there doing OPE morning, night, Monday to Sunday. And in that time, in the 3 months that I was there, I was getting raped. I had no one to talk to. I had nowhere to go to. I couldn't even leave the house. Even if I wanted to run away, the place was so far where I was staying away from the city that I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't speak to anyone. I only spoke to one person, and that was a friend of mine that was in Switzerland. And he was talking to me, and I said to him, "This is what's happening." And he said to me, "You have to tell your children." How do you tell your children this is what's happening? As a mother, what do I tell my child? But it so happened that my younger daughter phoned me, and she picked up something in that time, that something was wrong. And and I said to her, "No, nothing is wrong." And she said, "No, there is something wrong, Mom. What's going on?" So I told her what happened. And immediately I was sick. I was so sick. I, I was so sick that I couldn't get out of bed. And the couple wanted me to take care of the children, regardless of it, I was sick. They wanted me to cook. They wanted me to do stuff. And the two kids sat with me in the room and said, "Don't worry, Auntie Sheila, you sleep. We are okay. We'll play here in the room so you can still see to us." Now, two kids, 4 and 8, understood my pain, but not the parents. And then when I told my daughter, she said, "Don't tell the person that I'm coming. Don't let them know I'm coming. I'm coming to fetch you." And she came with my ex-husband. She came with him to fetch me. And when they walked in, this man was so scared because he felt like something, he knew now something is not right. And that's when my daughter told him that, "You know what you did, and I'm here to fetch my mom." But the guy got away with it. With our law and our system, you don't get justice. So even if you voice yourself, what is it? That's why a lot of people don't voice themselves, because they know they're not going to get any justice. So that also, when you look at that part of the life as well, on the rape side as well, is that it's very difficult for women to come out and say, or even men, let's say even men, to come out and say that that is what happened to them, because there is no system for us to go to and say this is what happened and the guy needs to get punished for. He was out. He went in. They took him into jail and they let him out on bail, and he never went back into jail. So he's free man doing whatever he's doing.
Hear me now? Okay, cool. You can hear me? 100%. Thank you so much for sharing that, because you are a voice to a lot of voiceless women out there who have said, or who are not even willing to say they're struggling with this and this is what they're going through. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I know a lot of men as well are going through a lot of similar situations where they are physically being abused by women, and because of the stigma that comes with society. I know in the black community it is so taboo that you would laugh at yourself first even before telling everyone else, because you know what is going to be said. So a lot of men sit in that silence. A lot of men, earlier on we had a guy coming on in the comment section, and he's fighting for his kids, which is something we do not see every day, where a man is going over and above to say, I want the full custody of my kids, to be able to raise them in a better home, give them a better opportunity, and to be able to run with them. Emmanuel is fighting tooth and nail to be able to do that. And you did exactly the same for your kids, is that you were willing to put yourself on the line so that your kids have a better outcome. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that, because for someone who's sitting at home, who's watching this, and who is maybe a Daphne, someone who's sitting there, a man who's saying, I'm on the verge of putting my hands on this woman because, she just will not stop, um, taking me on. In closing, what are your words for someone like Daphne, who says she's here for this? She needed this tonight. She needed to hear your voice. She needed to hear you speak out, and she needed to hear the power within your story, within how you overcame this over years, and how you overcame the rape, and how you were able to express this to your kids and to be able to get assistance for yourself. you know um uh, in your closing, how do you strengthen that woman that's in that physically abusive relationship, who goes to bed at night in tears because her husband has now laid hands on her? The man that was meant to be her protector is now the man that puts her, in aches and pains. What do you say to her, and what do you say to that man who's going through that abusive relationship, or who is the abuser, who might be watching and saying, I am that abuser that you guys are talking about? What do you say to that man? What do you say to this woman?
Well, to Daphne, I would say that, you know what, she's not alone. She shouldn't feel that she's alone. Yes, sometimes we don't tell our families because we ashamed of telling our families, because we don't know what our families are, how they're going to react to the situation. In the Indian community, I know that when you tell the families, they say, ah, things will come right. In those days, don't worry. You just have to, you know, forgive, and it's your husband, you know. But today you can't do that. At today's time, you can't say that, oh, it's your husband, it's okay for the husband to hit you or the wife to hit the husband. So definitely, yes, you need to start taking your power back. You've given your power away to the man that is beating you up or whatever he's doing to you. Take your power back. How do you take your power back? Is to reach out to people like us who can guide you and teach you how to fight for yourself, to believe in yourself. Because remember, people like us who goes through it loses self-confidence, loses self-esteem, loses all yourself. You broken, you don't know how to, you need to now mend yourself again. And how do you mend yourself? Is to reach out to people, not to feel ashamed, and believe in yourself that you can get out of it, you can do it. It's not easy, but there are ways of helping yourself. If you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to some way think. If you've got children, you need to see, are you willing to stay in this marriage because you're afraid of getting out because of society, what people are going to say? Or are you in this marriage because you're worried about people, but also, wouldn't you want to get out because you don't want your children to see this? You don't want your children to grow up to become like that. If you've got a son, your son might turn out to be like that. If you've got a daughter, your daughter might turn out to be like that. So, to save your children not to go through these things, you need to take the first step. We are here to assist, and we are here to say, come to us. But willingness comes from you. You need to be willing. If you're not willing, we can't do anything. It has to come from your side for asking for that assistance and help or guidance, so that we can take you through it and save you from where you are, and then become somebody that you want to become. The person that you dreamt of being, you can become that. It's never too late. It's never too late. And for the men, for the abuser, I would say, think about it. If you had a sister and your sister got married and the man is hitting your sister, how would you feel? Or your mother, how would your mother feel if your sister was getting beaten up by somebody? Because you hitting somebody else's daughter that you married. What about your mother's daughter or your sister who is somebody's daughter as well and getting beaten up? Would you like that? Or one day your children grow up and your daughter is there and a man hits your daughter. What are you going to do? Go hit the man? How could you go and hit the man when you are an abuser yourself? What would you teach your child? What would you tell her? Because she have seen it happening in your home. So how would you tell her that the other guy can't do it to your own daughter? So think about it. Rather, there's always a solution to problems that we have in marriages and relationship. Talk about it. If you can't talk about it, find a way to go separate ways without lifting your hands. Because sometimes it's not only the beating that is affecting the person. Mentally and emotionally is the worst pain than someone slapping you, because that stays longer. The mental pain stays longer. It's there all the time. You don't forget.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Sheila. Just in the box there, please just check out. Please do jot down your contact details for those that are looking for you. How do they find you? How do they speak to you? Karusha, in your closing, how do you speak to these women, and how do you say to this woman that starts walk, or should these women stay? Should these women stay? In your closing, Karusha.
Look, we're never alone. we are never ever alone, no matter how it looks that way and how it feels that way. There's always somebody, and if you decide to reach out, be willing to do that first of all. There's no such a thing as shame, embarrassment. Look, life is very difficult. You don't ever have to, men and women struggle like this. And I'm reading Daphne's comments about the family and the friends and all of that. Those are irrelevant. At the moment, it's you. It's always going to be about you and getting yourself to a place of safety, to a place where you can, feel and heal. But if you're sitting in the situation, that's all you're going to see. So please, 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 it's never going to be okay if you're sitting with it on your own. You will be stuck in your own head, whereas there's so much help out there. And it doesn't mean that people are going to change your world. Just sometimes you just need a sounding board, and that's all we are here for, is to listen to you. And thank you, Wandi and Moya, for this. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Moyo. Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Wandile.
ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your remarkable story with us, Sheila, tonight. Karusha, thank you for always being there for us. And the contact details are on the screen for Sheila. Karusha will put hers up shortly. You guys need to get a hold of them. All three of us are transformational coaches. We're able to assist you guys, walk you through the journey, start the journey with you. We are teachers. We're here for that. We've trained for it. We go into those spaces and we go into the trenches with you. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful time with us. We appreciate you. Tonight's topic and tonight's discussion was not a victim. I want to get that clear with you guys. Sheila is not a victim. She's not speaking from a point of powerlessness. Sheila is speaking from a point of, I took back my power. I gave myself the right, and I gave myself a life, and I'm enjoying the life that I live. And that's where she speaks from. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you guys do always, we love you from the bottom of our hearts. We love sharing our Mondays with you. Every one of you guys that logs in, we appreciate it because we get to share these stories with you guys and these insights. And we will keep bringing you guys people like Sheila who have a story to tell, who've walked the journey and have gotten themselves to the top of Mount Everest and will be able to walk themselves down and walk it up again and not get lost. Thank you so much for finding the time in your busy schedules. And please, please, please do take care of yourselves in this energy shifting, beautiful time that we're going through. Have a blessed evening and get a hold of them. Get a hold of Karusha. Get a hold of Sheila. WhatsApp them, text them. Let's put it this way. If you drink a bottle of whiskey a month, if you were to be able to trade that bottle of whiskey for a couple of sessions with Sheila and Karusha, that'll be better for your liver, your health, and your mind. Heal and be blessed. Umoya, all
Thank you,
right.
Wandile.
Umoya, bright.
Thank you, Kanisha. Love you guys.
Believe.
Bye.